Awesome.
All right. All right, folks. We are live on Telegram, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Rumble. This is Campaign for America, episode 50, and we are going to get right into it. So let me begin with our disclaimer. The views expressed in this show are expressly the views of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views, beliefs, or opinions of News for Us World, its hosts, broadcasters, or affiliates. Remember, folks, always use your own discernment when viewing. We encourage our viewers to think for themselves. Welcome, everybody. This is Campaign for America, episode 50, and we are going to jump right into the intro and then let Dennis do some housekeeping. And then we'll go from there, folks. This is going to be the last episode of season one, and we're going to resume season two on after the new year. It is December 19th of 2023 at approximately 2:21 p.m. All right, here we go.
In 1980, Ronald Reagan wore a white suit, a red tie, and a white shirt and addressed the nation. Hi, I am Dennis Andrew Ball, and I am running for President of the United States. I am talking to you right now because the debates that were conducted this week need to have a presidential response. The economic issues that both Barack Obama and Mitt Romney answered created in the minds of many of us unanswered questions of how do you sustain economic growth in the United States of America. In light of the decisions and the events that have happened since 2008, what do we need to do to reduce the deficit, increase job creation, maintain Social Security and Medicare, and provide the opportunity for our children and future generations not only to survive, but to thrive in a global economy. I would like to talk to you quickly on how I perceive what needs to happen. The United States of America at this time is suffering because the means of production have not equaled the ends of production that it requires in order to sustain its middle class. The United States of America must reindustrialize itself to make it possible that 23 million Americans can go back to work in industries that are productive for themselves and their families. What we are witnessing on a daily basis is the demise of the American family, the traditional American family of children, parents, and grandparents, by people in authority who have used, abused, and misused their positions to hurt our people. This must stop, and it will under my administration. The need at this moment of time is to get our organs of power in business to invest in research and development, to make it possible for industry to not only survive in America, but also to thrive. My attitude is that the production capability of the United States is equal to none. Our workers are very productive if given the opportunity, but they must be protected by government that concerns themselves with their best interests. And that has been a problem for many years in this country. My attitude also is that in order for our people to get themselves in a position to care for themselves and their children, we have to evaluate at this moment in time what is important for that to happen. And I believe that it will be more of a decision on the part of the American people when they go to the voting booth to decide who they think is best qualified to do that job. I believe also that we are in a position to make decisions that will impact the course of history and to bring about positive change in the lives of our family structure. I want to say that in order to do that, the means of production will have to be a top priority to reindustrialize the middle class and to provide the support for the future generations. I want to say this, that in terms of how we go about this business, the President of the United States should be very aware of what has happened and what needs to happen. My interest at this time is to educate through my administration of candidacy for presidency to make it possible for you to learn more about me and to decide if you are better off since the election of Barack Obama and the changes that need to happen in terms of the increase in gas prices, in food prices, the mortgage forfeitures that have happened since him, and also what we will do in the future to make it possible for more people to be employed out of 23 million who are not. Consider this opportunity to communicate to your friends and your neighbors my thoughts, and I look forward to hearing from you. I need presidential electors who will vote for me through the Electoral College when I win the states in this country to become your next president. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
All right, Stephen.
Go ahead. Housekeeping, Dennis.
Okay.
Ready to go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am here in Florida, in Brevard County. That is in Melbourne, Florida, north of Palm Beach, and north of Boca Raton, and north of Fort Lauderdale, which is Broward County, and that is north of Miami. Of course, if you continue to go south to Miami, you will eventually end up at Key West, which is at the tail end of the state, and it's surrounded by water, and that has a history of its own. Anyway, I'm pleased to say that this is the 50th episode of the Campaign for America. And a lot of things have happened since our last show, which was number 49. And the shows that we have done, number 48 and 49, focused on the problem of parents not being found to be unfit, yet their children are taken from them. And this is a big problem, and this has to get fixed. And I've been communicating with people how to fix it. And when I become the president, it will get fixed because I know what I must do. As a result, we are looking right now also at what I have been able to publish within the last week, a book called Full Disclosure. We Are Not Alone. This is an important book because I am the only presidential candidate who believes that we are not alone and has published a book to support that. Programs like Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, those people are interested in the subject of UFOs and UAPs. And Stephen, I think we need to do a show about this. What say you?
I say we should. We should definitely, because I did season 1 of News for Us World Fringe Division podcast, which is where I cover that subject matter, and I'm right. We should start season 2 with that. I think would be a great idea.
I have sent you a copy of the book. You should receive it between the 27th of December and the 7th of January.
Awesome.
Through Amazon. This will provide you a very good opportunity to learn the facts. But I say this, I think the alien societies have been on this planet for over 4,000 years. I think they built the pyramids. I think if you look at the pyramids in other continents, like in the Mayans, the Aztecs, besides the Egyptians, they've even found a pyramid in the Alaskan Triangle.
Yeah,
and
there's a lot.
I know, it's like
that modern academia likes to ignore, but there's so much evidence out there that points to that. In my, based on what I've seen, but then when you try to bring it to the to the mainstream academic, they try to like, oh no, but they're still stuck on those old narratives, and that's one of the problems with our system right now is we've got too many people that have been brought up in academia, which has been like, oh, things are a certain way and they're not this way, and people have been brainwashed a lot, and people in positions of power, it's a problem because we're not really looking at evidence.
Well, this is a problem, and as the world turns, more evidence is coming out because this continues.
Yep.
I mean, the last 10 years, particularly, there have been more sightings, more UFOs, alien encounters, different aliens too, from reptilians to grays.
Not only that, but just this last couple of years, the mainstream finally acknowledged, oh yeah, hey, by the way, UFOs are real, but don't worry about it. Like it wasn't a big deal. Like, well, then how come they spent all those previous decades poo-pooing it and making it a laughable issue? Like, come on, they're just doing damage control at this point because they couldn't contain it anymore. And at some point, they had to freaking try to put a cap on it, but they know they can't. So that's the next best thing that you do is try to control the narrative.
Well, you bet, and I am not a ufologist. I'm an author and a scholar, and I will remain as such. In that realm, and I think that the people out there like Stanton Friedman, God rest his soul, did a lot of good work. Also, Ben Hansen, he's another one. He's done good work. I think of Chris Mellon, the banking family, who was the Undersecretary of Defense under, I believe, the Obama administration. I want to say Luis Alessandro. Thank you.
Yeah,
he did a lot of good work too, and they're still doing work. And then the gentleman who was the rock band guy, I can't think of his name, but he left his artistry to become a ufologist. And there's another gentleman. He's got a Greek name, but he's doing good work. He's got a very interesting hairdo. But I think that,
Giorgio something from Ancient Aliens, right? I know who you're talking about. The guy with the funny hair. Right. Yeah.
You bet. So, I mean, when you get my book, you will see, and incidentally, I've already sold a copy. And
always a good thing.
You bet. We got at least one sold, and the thing is, it's 10 chapters and it's very well defined and it's all factual. It's not like hyperbole or speculation. It is actual facts coming from credible witnesses like pilots, like naval officers, like ufologists, those type of people. And for that, as a presidential candidate, like I said, Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel. I was born in Hollywood. I will fly from Orlando to LA and I will be on their show and I will bring my book with me and I will give a copy. I'll sign a copy of my book, the book you're going to receive. I think that's significant because in the timing of this presidential election, I am actually communicating the facts, not only in terms of otherworldly issues, but also the facts of the corruption going on in our culture and how to fix this. Also, over the weekend, there was a program that was created by Cos Witten. Cos Witten has taken over because of Marty Oakley. I don't know if you know that name, but she passed away and she was very active in the probate guardian abuse. Mm-hmm. And Cos has taken over that. And she had as a guest Diane Diamond, who is a seasoned journalist, something like a Cheryl Atkinson, who is definitely a seasoned journalist. And I was able to communicate on that show. There was lots of people who wanted to be on that show, and they took my call, and I was able to communicate. So that was very good. And Diane is interested in my next project called Guardianship Gulag. And I have 2 volumes, volume 1 and volume 2. The first volume talks about the problem of guardianship, how this has evolved into what it is, almost an entitlement program for lawyers and judges against the people who they squander, abuse, misuse, and use their assets and property for themselves. And as far as I am concerned, have no problem murdering people that they exploit. And that's the problem that I will fix.
Well, just look at the Hilligan case. I mean, look what happened there. You know, from what we're going to be pushing out that final timeline soon, before Christmas. So, and that's a big one, folks. And we've been able to prove that they murdered Susan Hilligan. So,
right, exactly. So this is all part of this campaign, including the theft of children, using, abusing, and misusing them for themselves, and to bring federal dollars into the state coffers, which is not little money. It's like $200,000 per child per year. I mean, that's not little money. And the federal government is paying these states for these children who go into foster care and who are actually stolen on hearsay, if anything. And you don't even have to have that. And as a result, the family is totally destroyed from within. And you destroy the family, you destroy America. And that is why I am in this campaign, because I will never stop fighting for the American family, the American people. What say you, Steve?
I agree. I'll never stop fighting. They're going to have to kill me to stop me.
Exactly, because this is so wrong, and they know it, but they are motivated by evil, and they are motivated by greed, and they have sold their soul for rock and roll, and as a consequence, we suffer. So they're going to have to feel the pain that we feel by our actions to cause them pain legally through the system, through the justice system, and then proceed accordingly to support the families who have been destroyed through reparations and anything else equitably available to them to help them recover from the damages that have occurred. You know, this is not uncommon either. This happened in the Holocaust in Nazi Germany when the Jews were being murdered in mass. And after the Allies came in and closed down those camps, those folks who survived needed a lot of help. And I think that our people need a lot of help because of this Holocaust that has been created by this government on our people. And I tell you that in earnest because it's a fact. And that's why I'm here. And I don't care what they think or say, those who are the naysayers. It's a fact. I've been on Facebook here of late communicating my thoughts on this. And I get some people says, well, are you on a revenge tour? And if they want to define it and describe it that way, go for it. The thing is, there is
Not
no
on an
room.
accountability tour.
Exactly. See how they twist it? You start talking about using the system, the laws, especially USC Title 18, Section 241, 242. Lincoln arrested judges for treason. This is what we have now as well, treason.
Yep.
In every form, coming out of a judiciary that is unaccountable to anybody, because nobody in justice will prosecute to any extent.
We have a civil court system that is violating people's civil rights on a day-to-day basis for federal grant money. Okay, and that's their incentive. It's the incentivization of the Title IV funding, specifically in regards to the CPS issue.
Right. $200,000 per child. The federal government pays these people. So they basically balancing their budgets off the backs of our kids. That is so bad. How do you change and stop that? You have to have people in government to stop that who understand it and are able and willing and able to do something very powerful about it. That's why I'm here. And we all should be emboldened and understand that unless we jump in to do this, this will only get worse and it will eventually end up in civil war. There will be a civil war here and it will be very ugly. I believe that. I believe the seeds for that have already been planted.
Well, they're certainly trying. I mean, but I'm a strong believer that with knowledge comes power, and with great power comes great responsibility. So if we inform the people enough, I think we have the number. I think enough people are tired, but we still got a little ways to go. We have to just keep on doing our work and informing people and and educating them and teaching and encouraging them to think for themselves and use critical thought and their own discernment. And I think that's the only way we're going to get through this, and without a civil war, in my opinion. And the internet is going to be our tool to do so.
Well, it certainly would help, and certainly does help. And like I said, the good news is that we do have a roadmap. As I've told you before, I will be going to the United Nations at the end of January. And I've made contact with Diane Diamond. I'd like to do a sit down with her at a studio, whether it's radio or TV, and do a sit down, be suited up in a suit and tie and all that, and have her on one chair and me on the other, asking me questions and me answering, and then have it on a podcast on all the platforms like we have this show, and move it forward. And I'm a praying man. I believe that it will happen where the people who have the financial ability to fund this party will come forth with the funds to help us move it forward in that respect as well. And I think that eventually will become the basis upon which the American Party of America, the American National Committee, will become the party of the United States. And it will be a model for other nations that will provide support for their families, for their governments, for their societies, that business, labor, and government work in the best interests of children, parents, and grandparents, living wage jobs and skilled labor. They already have manufacturing. The situation becomes, why have they not been able to attain a certain lifestyle of a middle-class society instead of having their leaders maybe abscond with their money and keep them poor?
Right.
And that's a problem, and it needs to be spoken. People need to start talking about stuff like this. We have to speak it and live it.
That's why freedom of speech is so important, folks.
Exactly. Like I said, I am a man of God. This is what God tells me to say to the people. And this is very important because I don't hear people talk like us. We need to be talking this way. Why? This is how we're going to correct the serious problems that have been entrenched for years in this society. We're talking about changing the culture from the me, my, and mine to the we, us, and our, and make it stick because it is the right thing to do. And that means being educated, getting educated. I've written about it at Amazon.com, also at the AOA-ANC.org website, folks. If you want to learn more about me, read my book, The Champ, Winning in the Ring of Life. I'm a winner. I believe that's the way it's supposed to be. I've written another book called One Nation. That book talks about the history of the middle class in America from the time of President Kennedy until now. We can see how it has declined, and there are reasons for that. We need to eliminate those bad reasons and get the good ones in place. And we can only do that by having good leaders who understand what needs to happen and are willing to do it, and hold those who want to hold us back accountable for their bad behavior.
We had intended on having a special guest on today. Why don't you just clarify for the context, because I did put that in the title, so they probably might be wondering where's the guest. So
yes, I can appreciate it. I do not know what happened to Steve Cakes. He and I had a nice chat about this, and I went ahead and prepared a dialogue for him to participate in today's show, but who knows? Steve is also known as Dr. Sky over WABC radio in New York City. Maybe he had to do something with them and did not inform me what he was going to do. But regardless, I'm always prepared to take in the gap man here, because there's so much that I'm doing that I think people want to know. Come and see what Dennis Ball is doing.
By just having these discussions alone, we're at least we're doing something proactive about it instead of bitching and moaning. We're at least doing having a proactive discussion and coming up with solutions, and that's what I love about doing this.
Well, you bet. I mean, come on. I mean, we have so many issues that need to be addressed. The good news is I have written about a lot of them. You go to Amazon.com and look up all the books that I have written, you'll find something there for you that connects, particularly as it relates to healthcare issues, income tax issues, issues related to accountability. I have a book called Tyranny at the Water's Edge, Draining the Swamp. So important. So many unaccountable agencies out here that hurt us, and they're unaccountable. Take our money, take our kids. It's all an incentive for them to harm innocent people in this government. Very bad. We did not have this during the periods after World War II up until the Clintons came in office in the 90s. And from there, after President Kennedy's death and the Nixon resignation, everything has gone to hell. And as a result, we're in the middle of it. But that's okay. It's not okay, but it's okay here because I've been able to overcome it, praise God. And I will continue to overcome it because I'm a winner. Winning in the ring of life. Life is a battle. We all know this if we're honest with each other. So it comes down to what do we have to do to win in the ring of life? And that's what I have written about. My book talks about me, the autobiography of Dennis Andrew Ball. People have to know, who am I, before they can vote for me. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. If you go to a nursing home, some of these gatherers of votes may vote for other people just because they're in a position that they can certify that whomever is they're voting for is who they want to vote for. Yet we don't know if that's true or not. There can be a lot of fraud in these elections, my friend. A lot of fraud.
Yeah.
But the same token, under Galatians chapter 5, verses 6 and 7, be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth or a woman soweth, they shall reap. And that's a fact. Therefore,
You reap
let
what you
us
sow.
agree on that it may not happen at 1 day, 2 days, it may not happen for a week, it may not happen for a year, but sometime it's going to happen. And when it does, the judgment is coming. I have seen this in my own life, in my own family's life, and in my own case life. And this is a fact. So, eternity is a long time, people, to be on the wrong side of history. Choose today whom ye shall serve. I hope it is the Lord Jesus Christ, who died for our sins so that we could go to heaven. And I have no reservation in talking this way because I think America needs to come back to God. Plus all the other issues associated with business, labor, and government and the family. It is so declined because of so many negative policies that have hurt so many good people. But the people don't know what to do, but they can know now because I'm here. Praise God. God sent me here. I would have loved to have retired in the Bahamas on a boat and Port Lacaya. But that was not in the cards.
Yeah, no, it's funny because I was on before all this went down during the whole lockdowns and during 2020 and COVID and all that. I had initially been on a path to release one of my video game I was working on for a first-person shooter that was about the very subject that you wrote your book about, but you were in the first-person perspective, and you were basically it was loosely based off of Bob Lazar's story, basically when you start out, right? And so I initially released that for Google Daydream VR, but then Google dropped support for their platform, so then that put a hamper, and I was intending on still releasing it for Xbox One because I have the ability to do that with their code API if you're a developer. But that all got pushed aside after COVID happened, and then 2021, when I found and I started doing the podcasting work because it all just kind of snowballed, and here we are,
You're right.
Yeah, I've been enlisted in his army, so to speak, to fight this fight as well.
Well, it's a fact. I mean, we met I think a year and a half ago in Missouri. That would have been in I think 2022.
Yep.
And now we're almost into 2024. Yep. So it's amazing. This is amazing a story as well. We'll be going into season 2, episode 1. I believe it's on January 7th. So we have some time. I'm busy here in Florida. We have, in addition to events that I'm scheduling, an opportunity to go to the Capitol in Tallahassee and create an event for the media. I sent a press release out yesterday to the press corps.
Pardon? January 9th is the second Tuesday of January.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for correcting. Okay, so the 9th of January. Okay, that's good. And so this is good. I'm working right now to put together the Capitol event in Tallahassee with the media people and with those who will be there to give their story. And we will have that. It's going to be on a Monday. And then we have our show on a Tuesday. So we'll probably be able to load it up and talk about it. If not, be able to communicate this show. We will have this on our program. This is a Capitol event. I guarantee that. I'm a very busy man with the media right now and making my way south to Boca Raton, to Broward County, Fort Lauderdale, possibly the Florida Atlantic University. George W. Bush was there on December 5th. That was a Tuesday. The same day they had a memorial at the Naval Air Station in Fort Lauderdale for Flight 19. Flight 19 was lost over the Bermuda Triangle in December of 1945. 27 aviators, young men, lost their lives over the Bermuda Triangle. They never found the planes. They don't know what happened to them. There was even
Wasn't that one of the rescue
scene.
planes that went after them?
Yeah, the rescue plane went after it with, I think it was 14 aviators on that, and never
They
came back.
disappeared. Yeah, they disappeared too.
Right.
Hearing about that
There's a scene in
when I was
Steven Spielberg's
looking at that subject.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind at the end, where the spaceship, the aviators come out of the spaceship. If you have a chance, you might want to do a movie clip on Close Encounters, I believe, of the Third Kind. Steven Spielberg can do a movie clip. Yeah, I mean, you can watch it, because at the end of that movie, these aviators come out of the spaceship. The spaceship has landed at Devil's Tower, Wyoming, and supposedly J. Allen Hynek is there, or Jacques Voulet from France. He's a ufologist. Okay, I believe he was there. This is the movie. This is a movie. This is fiction, science fiction. But they have a scene there.
We know that he that not Jacques Vallée, but the other guy. What was his name? I forget. You just said it.
Jacques Voulet.
And the other one.
J. Allen Hynek.
J. Allen Hynek. That's right. We know for a fact that this Spielberg enlisted his help to get some certain details of the movie right, because of his experience. Yeah,
exactly. And if you watch Project Blue Book on Prime, there is a episode where they interview J. Allen Hynek and his wife Mimi by a news journalist there at the location, and they talk about the Robertson panel in the 50s, and the gentleman who was supposedly alien possessed, who said if he doesn't go to the Robertson panel and support Blue Book, the program would be over, because the CIA wanted to take it over. It gets very interesting. I'm not a ufologist, okay? I am a scholar and an author. And what I do is I connect the dots. And I am totally convinced we are not alone. And we have not been alone for thousands of years. It's just that secrecy amongst the aliens and the technology they possess has caused a lot of hidden reality.
Well, I mean, a lot of these technologies that our government and our military industrial complexes reverse engineered are all caught up in special access programs. And according to
Stephen Gear,
according to one individual who I can't remember the name, they were quoted as saying it would take an act of God to get these programs out into the light of day.
Oh yeah, definitely. And you say it so well, Stephen, because all of these different events. When I think what you're saying, I think of Dulce, New Mexico. Supposedly there is a tower there on the bottom basement areas where they do experiments, because one of the CIA people actually was in a firefight with aliens. He lost fingers. He died about 4 months later after he gave his testimony.
Bill Snyder, yeah. He was a contractor.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, he even showed your hand. And see, I think if people would recognize, it's all fits. All this stuff, crop circles, cattle mutilations, these stories of people being abducted, these stories where people are visiting, they're seeing these craft in the air. I mean, how about the Phoenix Lights? I mean, there were two craft that were in the air. One was a boomerang shaped, and another one was a spaceship shape with enormous lights all around it.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no sound. It was all silent. How do you create all of that stuff? I have no clue, but I do believe it is real. And I believe that Roswell is indicative of a collision of two spacecraft that may have gotten their communication wires fouled up during a thunderstorm, that they were spying on what was going on at the 509.
Yep. You know what we realized? I think we realized at that time when that happened that our radar can interfere with their navigation systems. And I think that we figured out from that we can also take them down. And that's what our government's been doing ever since, I believe. I'm convinced of it.
Yeah, I think you got up a good point there. Yeah, I do. By the way, I wanted to show folks this. I'm here at this Burger King, and they have a nice. Well, let's see. They have a Christmas tree next to me. Let me see if I can move it so that
hit the reverse camera button to change it to your reverse camera or your forward facing camera.
Exactly.
Tap the screen on your Zoom, and then it should be at the top, and then it should have like a couple arrows in front of the camera icon. There you go.
Oh, doesn't seem to want to work. I keep hitting it to move it, but maybe. Well, let's see. See this? Okay, I'm going to move my camera. Okay, is that better?
Oh yeah, perfect. Now
can you see it now? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. There we go. So, Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy New Year. We won't see you until next year. Stephen, I think we're probably pretty much done for today. Unless you have something else you want to talk about, I'm pretty much into right now, continuing on with the campaign down here. And we're working also on the donors, proceeding to get them.
For our viewers who are wondering,
we can do other things.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I pretty much have said everything.
For our viewers who are wondering, we'll be on the lookout for the Herhiligus timeline number 3. We're going to be putting that out this week sometime. So before Christmas, be on the lookout for that. It's a big story, folks. We've been able to prove that the probate courts and the lawyers and the sister all colluded to kill Susan Hilligus. So that's going to be groundbreaking, folks.
You bet. That was just a horrible, and still is a horrible life experience that happened to the Hilligus family. That is not uncommon. That was a situation I had to deal with too, but I didn't pull the trigger on that because I didn't feel like I wanted to be incarcerated for kidnapping my own mother to take her away from evil. But she was, she was a really good woman, and my mother had
there was no kidnapping involved. There was no valid TPO at the time that Roger took his mother. Therefore, he took his mother within the bounds of the law.
They don't look at it that way.
I know they don't.
You go into the nursing home and you take somebody out against what they want you to do, you're charged.
They had her on freaking medication that was killing her. That she should not have been. She had dementia. Yeah.
I hear you.
Can you believe that shit? Risperdal.
Oh, I believe you, buddy. I mean, they do so many bad things. They murdered my mother. They've murdered other mothers. I'm in contact with other people with this. And we are living in a crisis. This is a crisis.
Yeah.
And so, I think like I said, the crisis we're living is a crisis we have to win. And to win it, we have to change it. And that means we have to do what we're doing.
Exactly.
And it's getting better. I will say this I don't believe things will get better. They will get worse until they do get better, because I think people will begin to understand what really needs to happen in order for this to change. Right. And I'm part of the change. I will never stop fighting for you. or anybody who's been dealing with these kinds of issues for so long, because I'm dealing with them too. I'm a court official. I'm still engaged in my own case and proceeding accordingly with that. So
Sounds
there
good.
we are. Yeah.
Well, with that being said, folks, let's wrap it up and play the outro, and then we will see you guys on the 9th of January and after
Yes.